She was the most feared weapon in the galaxy, trained from childhood to hunt and kill humans without mercy. But when a dying soldier whispered her real name, everything changed. Now, with the truth unraveling and her own army turning against her, she must make an impossible choice. Destroy the past that made her, or let the future burn. What happens when the deadliest soldier realizes she was born to save the very people she was built to destroy? If you're new here, then please subscribe this channel and show thumbs up by liking the video. Now let's move to this wonderful story. The ground of Graxis burned. Wind carried ash like falling snow, and distant fire made the sky glow red. Ruined buildings crumbled under the weight of silence. No birds, no voices, only the hum of scorched air and flickers of smoke rising from what once was a human outpost. In the middle of this silent graveyard walked a figure wrapped in red armor. She was not tall, but she moved like a shadow, quick, precise, without hesitation. Her name was Naira, though few ever dared to speak it. Most called her the ghost in red armor. Among humans, she was a nightmare. Among the alien Zevran, she was a symbol of pride. Her armor clanked softly with each step, the red plates marked with glowing black lines. They shimmered slightly, pulsing with life. Her hair, white as salt, was pulled back tightly. Her face held no emotion, only focus, only duty. Behind her followed a squad of Zevran soldiers, silent and alert. No resistance remains, one soldier reported in a low voice. We counted 19 human bodies, 5 captured alive. Naira gave a small nod. She didn't slow down. She moved toward a broken structure, once a human bunker, now nothing more than concrete bones. Her boots stepped over fallen weapons, burnt clothing, and twisted metal. Inside, in the dim corner of the base, one prisoner remained. His face was bloodied. His arm hung limp at his side. But his eyes were wide open, and he sat upright, hands tied behind him. He did not look afraid. Naira stepped forward. The glow from her armor lit the room. The other soldiers waited behind her. Name, she said, her voice flat and cold. The human smiled, a small smile, painful, but real. Corin Hald, he said. Officer, 2nd Fleet, Eastern Post. Naira's eyes narrowed. She didn't like smiles, not from enemies. Why smile? She asked. You're wounded, alone, and dying. Corin looked straight into her eyes. Because I know who you are. Silence. The room, already still, seemed to hold its breath. You're Naira Dellen, he said. You're not Zevran. You're human. Naira's hand went to the blade on her side. She pulled it out and held it to his throat. Try me, she whispered. Corin didn't flinch. You've felt it, haven't you? The confusion, the dreams, the parts of yourself you don't understand. It's because they took you. They trained you. They made you forget. Naira didn't speak, but something in her hand trembled, only for a second. You were 4 when they found you, Corin said, on Dellen Colony, during the First War. Naira turned sharply. She left the room without another word. The soldiers outside didn't speak. They never did. They followed her as she walked back into the cold air. But her mind did not return to the mission. It stayed in that room, on that name. Naira Dellen. That night she sat alone in her command tent. The stars above Graxis blinked in silence. She stared at her reflection in a metal cup. She touched a small scar on her left shoulder. A scar shaped like a leaf. She had always been told it was a mark of a warrior, but now she wondered if that was true. She tried to remember who gave her that scar. No memory came. There were no memories before the academy. No family. No laughter. Only the voice of the Zevran trainers. Cold voices. Sharp commands. No songs. No love. Outside, the camp was quiet. Inside her chest, her heart beat like a slow drum. Back in the cell, Corin sat in silence, a faint smile still on his face. He had seen something in her eyes, Not anger. Not hate. Something else. Doubt. And doubt, he knew, could grow. As the wind howled over the hills of Graxus, the ghost in red armor sat alone in the dark, and for the first time, she felt afraid of what she might find inside herself. Naira woke before sunrise. The light of the twin moons still lingered on the horizon, painting the camp in cold silver. She sat on her cot, armor half unstrapped, her eyes locked on the tent wall. Her fingers gently touched the scar on her left shoulder, the one shaped like a leaf. It had always been there, hidden beneath layers of armor and silence. The Zevran called it a warrior's mark, a birth blessing. But last night, the prisoner had called it something else, a memory. She stood and walked to the corner of the tent. Behind a steel trunk sat a hidden terminal, rarely used. It was tied to the Empire's deeper archives, only accessible by officers of her rank. She hesitated for a moment before pulling it forward. Her fingers tapped softly on the screen as she entered the secure code. The screen blinked once, then again. Access granted. Naira typed one word into the search. Dellen. At first there was nothing. Then a folder appeared. Old files. Dusty reports from the early days of the war. She opened one labeled Civilian Extractions. Her eyes scanned the list. Page after page of names, dates, colony numbers, then she stopped. Naira Dellen, age 4, status missing. Location, Dellen Colony. Note, presumed abducted during Zevran raid. Her breath caught. Her heart began to beat faster. The file showed a photograph. A small girl, human. Round face, tan skin, bright eyes. Smiling. Under her left shoulder, barely visible, a faint mark shaped like a leaf. She stared at the image. Something inside her shifted. Not pain, not fear, something deeper. Recognition. She leaned back, hands shaking slightly. The Zevran had told her she was born in the Kiros barracks, that she was chosen, made for battle. Now, that story felt thin, artificial. The screen blinked again. Access denied. Connection lost. She stood up quickly and closed the terminal. Outside, the camp had started to stir. Soldiers moved in quiet lines. Weapons were checked. Armor polished. Orders given. Naira stepped out of the tent. Her second-in-command, a tall Zevran named Jernak, approached. Scout ships confirm human. Movement on the eastern ridge, he said. Orders? Naira paused, her mind still echoing with the name. The photo. The scar. Delay response, she said. Tell them we need clearer scans. Jernak frowned. That is not procedure. It is now, Naira replied. He didn't argue. He turned and left, but not before glancing at her shoulder as if sensing the change in her. Naira walked toward the holding cells. Her boots pressed into the red dirt. The wind was rising again, sharp and dry. Inside the prison room, Corin sat, against the wall, one arm still tied. He looked up when she entered. You found it, didn't you? He said. Naira didn't answer at first. She stood in front of him, silent. Then she spoke. How do you know who I am? Corin shifted, wincing as he moved. Because my family searched for you, for years. Your name was on every missing list. You were my sister's daughter. Aunt? She asked, confused. No, he said. I mean, I was the boy next door. We played together. Your parents and mine were friends. When the raid happened, we were hiding in the same cellar. They grabbed you. I never forgot your face. Naira's hand trembled. She clenched it into a fist. Why didn't the Zevran kill me? She asked. Corin's voice was calm, but heavy. Because of Project Thorn. They didn't want to destroy us, they wanted to reshape us. Take children, wipe their memories, raise them to hate their own kind. You were one of the few that survived the conditioning. Naira stepped back. Her mind screamed for order, but there was none. She turned away and walked out. That night, in the dark of her private chamber, she removed her chest plate and shoulder guards. Under the skin, near her left collarbone, the leaf-shaped scar glowed faintly under the lamplight. She touched it gently, then opened her drawer and pulled out a knife. She didn't use it on herself. She used it to slice open the lining of her armor. Inside, hidden in a thin fold, was a code crystal. Something left there years ago. She had never questioned it. Now she did. She inserted the crystal into the tense backup console. It flickered. New data filled the screen. Subject, Naradellin. Status, active. Program, Thorn. Clearance, level red. Her body tensed. She scrolled through lines of information. Tests, results, evaluations. Combat readiness, 98%. Emotional suppression, 87%. Memory recovery risk, high. She shut it off. Outside, a soldier passed by her tent, unaware of the storm brewing inside. Nara sat on the floor, head resting on her knees. She whispered to herself, "If I'm not Zevran, then what am I?" But no voice answered her, only silence, and the scar under her armor that no longer felt like honor, but a question waiting to be answered. The cold wind of Graxus howled outside the camp walls. Inside her tent, Naira stood still, staring at the silent console. Her heart was beating, faster than she wanted to admit. She had seen enough. Enough lies, enough silence. The empire that claimed to raise her had stolen her, trained her to kill her own kind. And now, she could not pretend anymore. Her fingers moved quickly across the console. She accessed an old beacon stored in the bunker's armory, once taken from a captured human outpost. She used the code crystal she found in her armor to bypass security and typed a message. To Terran Command. Name, Naradellin. Location, Graxus Sector. Status, alive. I have knowledge of Zevran war crimes and Project Thorn. Will wait 48 hours. Come alone. She attached coordinates and deleted the message from the logs. She stared at the screen for one more moment, then shut it off. Her body felt heavy, like she had dropped the armor but still wore the weight. She stepped outside. The camp was quiet. Stars filled the night sky like distant eyes. Soldiers passed her, nodding with respect. She nodded back, pretending nothing had changed, but not everyone was fooled. Jernak watched her from the shadows near the comms tower. He had noticed her hesitation, her sudden orders to delay attacks, and now he had traced a strange signal. One that matched human frequency. He pressed a button on a hidden device. A voice crackled through. "This is command," it said. "Report." She sent a signal, Jernak whispered. "Encrypted. She's hiding something." The voice replied, "Observe, confirm, do not engage until ordered." The next morning, Naira brought food to the prison chamber. Corin was sitting up, his injuries healing slowly. He looked surprised when she unshackled one of his hands and placed the tray beside him. "You're risking a lot," he said quietly. Naira didn't meet his eyes. "I already risked everything when I started asking questions." He nodded. "So, what happens now?" "We wait," she said. "If Terran Command receives the signal, they'll come. We'll leave. I'll give them what they need." "And if they don't come?" he asked. She paused. "Then I make sure the truth still reaches someone." That evening, the air in the camp changed. Red lights blinked across the control panels. Alarms echoed faintly. Naira checked her datapad. The screen flashed a warning. Unauthorized transmission detected. Her blood ran cold. She stepped into the hallway. Footsteps moved fast in the direction of the operations deck. She followed. The command center was filled with officers. Jernak stood, in the middle, pointing at a large holo display showing a signal trace. "It came from this tent," he said, highlighting hers. "Encrypted human code. Level red." Naira kept her face calm. "Then trace it. Find the traitor." Jernak didn't blink. "I did. It came from your login code." The room went quiet. Officers looked at one another. Some shifted nervously. Others reached slowly toward their weapons. Naira stepped forward, face emotionless. "You're accusing me?" she said. "I'm confirming facts," Jernak replied. "And facts do not lie." Without a word, Naira moved. Her armored fist slammed into Jernak's chest, knocking him against the wall. He fell with a gasp. The room erupted in shouts. Naira drew her blade and pointed it at the others. "I have bled for this empire," she said. "I have killed in its name. And now you think I would betray it?" Her voice dropped to a whisper. "Maybe ask yourselves why someone like me would need to." She turned and ran. Her boots echoed through the metal halls as she moved toward the prison block. Guards spotted her but froze, unsure whether to stop her. She reached the chamber and burst inside. "They know," she said. Corin stood already, alert. "Then we move now." She tossed him a plasma pistol. "Can you still shoot?" He smirked. "I can still breathe." They ran through the back corridors. Alarms rang across the base. Orders shouted over comms. "Commander Naira is a confirmed traitor. Capture or kill on sight." Corin looked at her. Well, that didn't take long. "Keep running," she snapped. They entered an old supply tunnel, hidden beneath the camp. It was dusty, tight, and filled with echoes. Naira had used it once, during training. Now it would be their escape. The tunnel opened into a forgotten launch bay. Inside, hidden behind crates, sat an old human shuttle, battle-scarred, dusty, but functional. As they approached, 3 Zevran guards stepped from the shadows, weapons raised. "Drop your weapons," one shouted. Naira didn't stop. She fired first. The nearest soldier dropped. Corin rolled behind cover and returned fire, hitting the second. The third lunged. Naira met him head-on. Their blades clashed. She twisted, slammed her elbow into his jaw, then swept his legs and drove her blade into the ground beside his neck. He didn't move. "You all right?" she asked. Corin nodded. "I've been worse." They jumped into the shuttle. Naira slid into the pilot seat. Her fingers moved fast, powering the systems. Just before liftoff, a figure limped into view. Jernak. His armor damaged, but he held a plasma rifle aimed at the ship. "You don't get to leave," he growled. Naira stepped into the open hatch. "You never asked why I sent that message," she said. "I didn't need to," he replied. "You're a traitor." "No," she said softly. "I'm a truth seeker, something we were all taught to be." He fired. She dove behind cover, returned fire, just enough to distract him. "Go," she shouted. Corin hit the thrusters. The shuttle shook violently as it blasted through the hangar doors. Fire lit the sky behind them. The camp shrank into a speck. Inside the shuttle, silence. Naira stared out the window. She didn't know where they were going, but she knew one thing for sure. She was no longer Zevran. And whatever lay ahead, she would face it, not as a ghost, but as a girl, finally waking up. The shuttle glided through the dark between stars. Sparks flew from the side panels, and warning, lights flashed on the console. Naira kept her hands tight on the controls. Her knuckles were white, her breath sharp. Behind her, Corin lay stretched out on the co-pilot seat, a bandage pressed against his side. His skin was pale, but he was still breathing. "You're losing blood," she said without turning. "You noticed," he whispered, trying to smile. She tapped a few buttons and opened the nav display. "Where's the nearest Terran base?" Coughed. "There's one on Zarin 3 mining colony, small hidden. They won't shoot us on sight, probably." Naira nodded and turned the ship toward the new heading. Her mind raced faster than the shuttle. She had escaped. The lies of the Zevran Empire were behind her. But truth alone wasn't enough. Not when a weapon like Project Thorn still existed. It was meant to end the war by ending all human life. And she had been built to activate it. The comm system crackled. A voice cut through the static. "Unidentified vessel, you have entered restricted space. Identify or be fired upon." Corin reached up weakly and pressed a switch. "This is Officer Corin Hald, Terran Command, ID 4841, traveling with defector Naira Dellen, requesting emergency landing and medical help under War Amnesty Code." There was silence. Then the voice returned. "ID confirmed. Coordinates sent. Approach slowly. Weapons offline." See? Corin said. That's how we say hello. The shuttle landed in a rocky basin, surrounded by cliffs and shield towers. Terran soldiers ran to meet them. Naira stepped out first, hands raised. Her red armor was scratched and burned. She expected guns, shouting, maybe even chains. Instead, silence. Corin followed, limping, leaning on her shoulder. Medics rushed forward, taking him away on a stretcher. As he was lifted, he turned to her and gripped her hand. You made the right choice, he whispered, then disappeared through the doors. Naira was placed in a cold room. No weapons, no windows. She sat at a steel table, staring at her reflection. Her face looked older now, not from time, but from the weight of everything she had done. Everything she had been made to do. The door opened. A man entered in a black uniform. Short hair, sharp eyes. His tag said Colonel Darren Holt. He sat down across from her. Commander Naira, he said. Or should I say Naira Dellen? I don't care what you call me, she replied. Holt studied her. You brought us files. Proof of child theft, memory erasure, war crimes. You saved a Terran officer. Impressive. But it doesn't erase your past. I know, she said quietly. So why should we let you live? She reached into her sleeve and slid a data chip across the table. Because they're building something worse. They call it vein flare. It won't just kill, it'll erase humanity. Holt took the chip and left without another word. The days passed slowly. Naira was kept under guard. They gave her clean clothes, soft and simple. The red armor was gone. She didn't miss it. On the third day, someone knocked. It wasn't a soldier. It was Corin. He looked better. Still bruised, but standing. I told them I'd fight the whole base if they didn't let me see you, he said with a grin. She stood still, then stepped forward. I remembered something, she whispered. A song. You used to hum it. A lullaby. He smiled. You'd fall asleep on my shoulder before. I finished the first verse. Her throat tightened. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For being the enemy. He hugged her. You're not the enemy. You're my sister. The Terran Council called a trial. A room of glass and white alloy. 12 human leaders sat above. Generals, governors, scientists. They had seen war. They had lost people. Naira stood in the center. Corin stood beside her. You are accused of war crimes, said Chairwoman Ines Marrow, her voice calm but firm. Civilian deaths, execution of prisoners, building weapons against your own people. Naira didn't flinch. I know what I've done. I was taken. They erased my past, gave me a new name. They didn't make me choose war. They built me for it, she paused. But that doesn't excuse it. I'm not asking for mercy. I'm asking for a purpose. To stop what's coming next. Holt played the hologram. It showed vein flare. Massive Zevran ships, spikes beneath their bellies glowing with energy. It targets only human life, Naira said. No bombs, no fire, just silence. Some doubted. One shouted, how do we know this isn't a trick? Corin stood up. Because she gave you the codes, the location, everything. And because I know her. She's not a ghost anymore, she's my sister. The council took time, then returned with their choice. You will not be executed, Marrow said. You will lead a team to destroy vein flare, under supervision. If you refuse, you go to prison. Naira nodded. I accept. The next week, Naira returned to the place where it all began. Deep, inside Zevran territory, in a fortress of ice and fire. With her went Corin and 3 Terran elites. The final door was locked by blood. Her blood. Her hand opened it. Inside waited strategist Kale Drax, the alien who raised her. His voice was calm. We gave you everything. You were meant to activate the weapon. Naira stared at him. I was meant to be free. She stepped toward the control panel. The system glowed, reading her body. The countdown started. She drew her blade and struck. Sparks flew. Wires burned. Alarms screamed. It's inside you, Drax shouted. You are the key. Then I'll take it with me, she said, stabbing the core. Energy surged through her body. Pain blinded her. She dropped to her knees. Corrin caught her. Don't do this, he begged. She smiled. I was made to end the world, but I choose to save it. He shot Drax, grabbed Nera, ran as the mountain exploded. They escaped. Back on Terran ground, in a quiet medical bay, Nera woke. You came back, Corrin whispered. She reached for his hand. I never left. The war didn't end overnight. But something shifted. A weapon chose not to fire. A girl remembered her name, and a memory killed the war.